Welcome back to Bargaining in War. In this lecture, we're going to conduct a comparative static on the crisis bargaining game with incomplete information. Last time, we looked at a situation where A did not know B's cost for war. In particular, it was a binary type distribution, so B could either have high costs or low costs. And A thought that with probability Q, B had high costs, which we denoted as CB prime. Meanwhile, with probability 1 minus Q, A thought that B had low costs, which we call just regular CB. And what we discovered in that last lecture is that A's optimal strategy, what it's going to be demanding, is a function of its prior belief Q, the likelihood that B has high costs. So if we draw a number line out to represent this belief, it's going to range from 0 to 1 because Q is a probability. It's the likelihood that B has high costs. What we found is a cut point on Q that defined what A was going to do in equilibrium. And in particular here, if we draw out that cut point that we solved for was equal to CA plus CB over CA plus CB prime. And what A does in equilibrium, again, depends on whether Q is above or below that cut point. So if it is above that cut point, well, this is the situation where A thinks B is relatively likely to have high costs. And what A's optimal demand under that circumstance was to choose X equal to P plus CB prime, which was just enough to get the high cost type to accept. It's gearing its demand toward the high cost type because the high cost type is sufficiently likely under these circumstances. Q is larger than this cut point here. And what happens in response to that? Well, again, this is just enough to get the high cost type to accept, so high accepted under those circumstances. And if the high cost type is just indifferent between accepting and rejecting, well, that means the low cost type with a lower cost for war and therefore a better war payoff would choose to fight under those circumstances. So the low type rejects in equilibrium if Q is larger than CA plus CB over CA plus CB prime. In contrast, something different happens if Q is lower than that cut point. Under those circumstances, A thinks that B is relatively likely to have low costs and therefore targets the low-cost type with its demand. And it will choose, under those circumstances, X equal to P plus CB. That's just enough to get the low-cost type to accept. And of course, if the low type is happy with a deal, then the high-cost type is going to be happy with a deal because the high-cost type would pay an even higher cost for war. So here we have both types accepting. So if A is relatively under the impression that B has high costs, then it makes a risky demand that has some positive probability of war. That's on the right side. And if Q is sufficiently low, then A is going to make the safe demand that both types are going to accept. That's on the left side, and we don't have any war occurring. So the question I want to ask in this lecture is, what happens if we increase CA? So what happens if A learns from its military advisors that war is actually going to be slightly costlier than maybe it thought beforehand? How is that going to change A's demand strategy? Well, we've done most of the legwork in terms of figuring this out by solving the game already. We've solved this game as a function of this cut point on Q, CA plus CB over CA plus CB prime. So really the question that we need to be addressing is, how do we conduct a comparative static on this? And the answer is just very similar to what we've been doing before. What we're going to do is analyze how this cut point changes as a function of CA. So we're going to see what happens when we increase CA a little bit and how that shifts the probability of war. Well, if we think about this intuitively, if war is slightly more costly for A than it was beforehand, then in order to risk war, which is what's happening on this end of the spectrum, in order to risk war, A needs to be a little bit more confident than it was previously if it's going to be willing to make that risky offer. In other words, that safe demand looks slightly more attractive when war is costlier than when war is cheaper. So what we might anticipate then is if we increase CA to CA plus epsilon, some extra amount, we might see something that looks like this, where that cut point, we're going to call this cut point Q star. That cut point Q star under CA is going to be smaller than it is when we increase CA by some amount. So with epsilon, we have increased the quantity Q star. And if we think about what that entails, then we have the safe demand being made here and here, and the risky demand being made here and here. Which means everything in this region between the two possible Q stars, one without the epsilon and one with the epsilon, these are circumstances where A would make the risky demand and fight with some positive probability without the cost increase, but with the cost increase is unwilling to do that. So what we are trying to figure out is, in fact, whether Q star increases like that in epsilon. If the prior belief necessary for A to make the risky offer is increasing, then increasing A's cost for war is going to decrease or weakly decrease the probability of war occurring. So again, to do that, all we're going to be doing is investigating whether the following relationship is true. This is just a standard comparative static that we're going to be conducting. We want to know whether this value here is going to be less than this value here when we're adding epsilon. So to do that, we're just going to compare the normal cut point, CA over CB, CA plus CB over CA plus CB prime, and check whether that is in fact less than CA plus epsilon plus CB over CA plus epsilon plus CB prime. And of course, we're using this epsilon method here. If you were to do this with a derivative, you could do it like that by just taking a derivative with respect to A. Here in this lecture, though, we're just doing this with an increase of epsilon and seeing how that changes the cut point. Okay, so we've gotten to this point. All we need to do from here is do our standard algebraic manipulation and figure out whether this inequality is true. We don't know whether this inequality is true. We have speculated as much that it should be. Let's find out. So the way that we go about doing that is simply manipulating the inequality until we get something that we know for sure is going to verify that this statement is correct. Well, we have a couple of fractions on both sides. Usually what you want to do with a fraction on both sides is multiply both sides by the denominators, and that way you can get rid of the fractions. You'll notice here that both of the denominators are positive values all the way through, so we don't have to worry about flipping the inequality, which is going to be very nice for us. So if we take this value here and put it up here, that's the first step, then that's going to get us CA plus CB, in parentheses, times this denominator, which is CA plus epsilon plus CB prime. That's 1/2 of the inequality. And we want to check to see whether that is less than this denominator times this numerator, which is CA plus CB prime times CA plus epsilon plus CB. Okay? Well, how do we go from here? Well, we're just going to start multiplying everything out. It's going to take a little bit of effort, but that seems pretty straightforward. Just we have to do one thing after another, and maybe we'll get to an answer after that. All right, well, let's go ahead and start with the left-hand side. So we have a CA term and a CA term, so we get CA squared. Then we have a CA and an epsilon, so CA epsilon. And then we have a CA and a CB prime. CA, CB prime. And then if we do everything for the CB, we have a CB times a CA. So CA plus, or rather, CA times CB. And then we have a CB and an epsilon. And then we have a CB and a CB prime. So that is fully multiplied out the left-hand side. And now let's fully multiply out the right-hand side and see if it's going to be less than the quantity that we had on the left-hand side. So if we're multiplying out everything on the right-hand side, we have a CA and another CA, so that's just a CA squared. We have a CA and an epsilon, so plus CA epsilon. We have a CA and a CB, so plus CA, CB. We have a CA, oh no, we're done with the CA, so now we're going to be on CB and a CA, CB prime and a CA, I should say. So CA, CB prime, that's coming from here and here. And now let's take the CB prime and multiply it by that epsilon. And then lastly, we have a CB prime and a CB. Okay, so now we have fully multiplied everything out. We can start trying to see if there's any terms that can cancel. And in fact, there are a ton of terms that cancel. If we look at the top here, on the way on the left, we have a CA squared and another CA squared. So those things cancel out. We have a CA epsilon and another CA epsilon down below. So those cancel out. If we go all the way on the right, we have a CB and a CB prime. Those cancel out. Let's see, we also have here a CA CB prime, CA CB prime. So those cancel out. Excellent. And right here we have a CA CB and a CA CB. So those things cancel out. And now we're just down to these two things. That's all we got. Excellent. So this is going to be relatively easy once we've done all of that multiplying out. So just to get everything down onto one line, we have CB epsilon less than CB prime epsilon. Well, we have an epsilon on both sides. That's a positive value, so we can divide off of it. And we are left then with CB less than CB prime. And well, you know, that is true. True. Excellent. CB prime, by definition, is the larger of the two costs. So we know that this relationship holds. We have verified that, in fact, when we increase epsilon by a little bit of amount, then having that higher cost for war CA is going to make it such that there are circumstances where beforehand, before we increase the cost, A was willing to make the risky demand and now is no longer willing to do that under this circumstance here, where now we've shifted that cut point a little bit further to the right. Okay, so that was a comparative static on CA. To preview something that's going to be happening later on in this course, we have not yet done a comparative static on what happens when we change CB. And that's because doing that with incomplete information is a little bit murkier than it is than when we're doing it with just the A's cost for war. We'll talk a lot more about that in a later chapter. But for now, that's all we're doing for this lecture. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you next time. Take care.